You're making a scene, Sophia. His voice is honey-sweet, but his grip tightens. Smile. I do. I always do. Because Marcus Hale doesn't ask. He commands, and after 6 months of engagement to the most powerful real estate developer in Chicago, I've learned that resistance only makes things worse. There's someone I need you to meet, he says, already pulling me through the glittering crowd of his associates, their wives draped in diamonds that cost more than my entire education. Congressman Riley, very important we make the right impression. The right impression. That's all I've been for months. An impression. The pretty fiancée from a good family who majored in art history and knows which fork to use. I'm so tired of being an impression. But then Marcus stops walking. The entire ballroom seems to stop with him. There's a man standing near the terrace doors, and every instinct in my body is screaming at me to look away, to be invisible, to not draw his attention. He's tall, wearing a black suit that probably costs more than Marcus's Mercedes, and his dark hair is swept back from a face that's almost cruelly beautiful. Sharp cheekbones, a mouth that looks like it's forgotten how to smile, and eyes so cold they make the March wind outside seem warm. "Who is that?" I whisper. Marcus's hand jerks on my wrist, pulling me sideways so sharply I stumble in my heels. "No one. Come on." But it's too late. Those cold eyes have found us. Found me. The man moves through the crowd like a knife through silk, and people part for him without even seeming to realize they're doing it. Some of the color has drained from Marcus's face. "Mr. Hale." The stranger's voice is quiet, but it carries. "I didn't know you'd be here tonight." "Mr. Volkov." Marcus's voice has lost all its commanding smoothness. We were just leaving, actually." "Were you?" Those ice blue eyes slide to me, and I feel my breath catch. "And who is this?" There's a long, awful silence. Marcus's fingers are shaking against my wrist. "My fiancé," he finally says. "Sophia Warren." "Sophia, this is Adrian Volkov." I know that name. Everyone in Chicago knows that name, even if they pretend they don't. Adrian Volkov, who owns half the city and controls the other half through means that polite society doesn't discuss at dinner parties. They call him the Wolf of Chicago, though never to his face. Charmed. Volkov takes my free hand before I can pull it back, bringing it halfway to his lips before he pauses. His thumb brushes across my knuckles and his eyes narrow. "You're trembling." "She's cold," Marcus says too quickly. "The terrace doors are closed." Volkov's gaze hasn't left my face. "Are you cold, Miss Warren?" I should say yes. I should smile and agree, and let Marcus pull me away to whatever corner he wants to hide me in. But there's something about the way Volkov is looking at me. Not through me, like Marcus's business associates do. Not past me, like the society women who've already dismissed me as too young and too ordinary. But at me, like he can see every bruise Marcus has ever left on my soul. "No," I hear myself say. "I'm not cold." Marcus's fingers spasm on my wrist. "Sophia." "Then why are you trembling?" Volkov asks softly. "Because your fiancé likes to squeeze my wrist until I have to wear long sleeves to brunch with his mother. Because I'm 24 years old, and I can't remember the last time I made a decision for myself. Because I'm terrified that this is my life now. Champagne and cruelty, and pretending everything is perfect. But I can't say any of that. So I just stand there, trapped between Marcus's painful grip and Volkov's penetrating stare, while the ballroom music plays on, and no one seems to notice that I'm drowning. "We really should be going," Marcus says, already backing away. "Early morning tomorrow. Business meeting." "At 7 a.m. on a Saturday?" Volkov's expression doesn't change, but something dangerous flashes in his eyes. "How unfortunate. I was hoping to speak with you about the property development on South Michigan. The one where you've been having trouble with permits." Marcus goes completely still. That's not... How did you... "I make it my business to know things, Mr. Hale." Volkov finally releases my hand, but his gaze stays locked on Marcus. "Perhaps we should discuss it. Privately." The threat in those 2 words is unmistakable. Marcus's face has gone from pale to gray. "Of course," he manages. When? Now. Volkov glances at me again, and for just a second, something in his expression softens. Miss Warren, perhaps you'd like some champagne? The vintage tonight is quite good. It's not really a suggestion. Before I can answer, Volkov gestures to someone in the crowd, and suddenly there's a server at my elbow with a crystal flute, and Marcus is being guided away by two men in dark suits who appeared out of nowhere. And I'm standing alone in the middle of a ballroom full of strangers with expensive champagne I don't want. I should leave. I should call a car and go back to the apartment Marcus pays for, and pretend this never happened. Instead, I take a sip of champagne and watch Adrian Volkov disappear through a side door with my fiancé, and wonder why I feel more alive than I have in months. That's when Elena finds me. She materializes out of the crowd like a silk-wrapped shark, all gleaming jewelry and calculated charm. I recognize her from Marcus's files. Elena Volkov, Adrian's younger sister, who handles the legitimate side of their business empire. You must be Sophia. Her smile is warm, but her eyes are assessing. Marcus's fiancé. I've heard so much about you. I doubt that. Marcus barely talks about me, even to his own family. It's nice to meet you, I say, because that's what you say at events like this, even when you're not sure if it's true. Come with me. Elena links her arm through mine before I can protest. You look like you could use some air. And maybe a real drink, not that champagne they're serving. She guides me away from the main ballroom, through a corridor lined with oil paintings of stern-faced men, and into a smaller room that's clearly meant for VIPs. It's quieter here, just a handful of women in expensive dresses clustered around a fireplace, talking in low voices that stop the moment we enter. Everyone, this is Sophia Warren, Elena announces, Marcus Hale's fiancée. The temperature in the room drops about 20 degrees. Oh, says a blonde woman in emerald green, her lips curving into something that's not quite a smile. How nice. I know that tone. I've heard it at every event Marcus has dragged me to, from every woman who's decided I'm not worth her time. I'm about to make an excuse and leave when Elena's grip on my arm tightens. Sophia was just telling me about her work with the Children's Art Foundation, Elena says smoothly. Such important work. I wasn't telling her anything, but I'm grateful for the lie. The blonde woman looks unimpressed. How charitable, she says. I'm sure Marcus is very proud. There's something pointed in the way she says Marcus's name, something that makes the other women exchange knowing glances. I feel my face heating. Actually, I start, but I don't get to finish. The door opens again, and a man I don't recognize steps in. Young, maybe 30, with slicked-back hair and a smile that makes my skin crawl. His eyes land on me immediately. Well, fresh meat. Elena's entire body goes tense. Carter, this is a private room. So it is. Carter's smile widens as he moves closer, but I'm sure Miss Warren doesn't mind. Do you, sweetheart? I take a step back, but he's faster. His hand lands on my lower back, fingers spreading possessively. I mind, I say, trying to keep my voice steady. Please don't touch me. Don't be like that. His fingers dig in, and I can smell whiskey on his breath. Marcus wouldn't want you to be rude to his business partners, would he? We're all friends here. Remove your hand. Elena's voice has gone ice cold. Now. Carter laughs. Or what? You'll tell Big Brother? I'm not afraid of Adrian. But he should be. Everything happens very fast after that. Carter's hand slides lower, squeezing hard enough to make me gasp. I try to pull away, but he's got me locked against him, his breath hot on my neck. Just one dance, he murmurs. That's all I want. Just one. Elena moves to intervene, but Carter shoves me backward, hard. I stumble in my heels, catching myself on the arm of a chair while pain shoots through my ankle. The room spins. And then the door opens again. Adrian Volkov stands in the doorway, and the temperature doesn't just drop. It plummets. His eyes scan the room, taking in Carter's flushed face, Elena's fury, me clutching the chair like it's the only thing keeping me upright. What, he says very quietly, is happening here? Carter's smirk falters. Nothing. Just having a little fun with Hale's girl. No harm done. Volkov's gaze moves to me. Is that true, Miss Warren? No harm done? My ankle is throbbing. My back aches where Carter grabbed me, and I'm so tired of men thinking they can put their hands on me whenever they want. He touched me, I say. I asked him to stop. He didn't. The silence that follows is deafening. Carter. Volkov's voice is still quiet, still controlled, but there's something underneath it that makes me shiver. I'm going to give you 5 seconds to leave this room. If you're still here when I reach one, what happens next will be your own fault. Carter's face flushes red. You can't be serious. It's not like she's 5. Adrian, come on. 4. It was just a joke. 3. Carter looks around the room, but no one meets his eyes. Even the blonde in emerald green has suddenly found something fascinating about her champagne glass. 2. Fine. Carter throws up his hands. Jesus, fine. Not worth it anyway. He storms out, slamming the door behind him. The remaining women scatter like startled birds, suddenly remembering urgent appointments elsewhere. Within seconds, it's just me, Elena, and Adrian Volkov, and the silence is so thick I could cut it with a knife. Are you hurt? Volkov asks me. I'm fine. The lie tastes bitter. Just twisted my ankle a bit. It's nothing. He crosses the room in 3 strides, and before I can protest, he's kneeling in front of me, his hands hovering near my injured ankle with surprising gentleness. May I? I nod, not trusting my voice. His fingers are careful as they probe the swelling, checking for breaks. His touch is nothing like Marcus's painful grips or Carter's grabbing hands. It's professional, impersonal, and somehow that makes it worse, because I can feel myself wanting to lean into it, into this stranger who's showing me more consideration in 5 minutes than my fiancé has in 6 months. Nothing broken, he says finally, sitting back on his heels. But you should ice it. He looks up at Elena. Get the car. I can't, I say quickly. Marcus, he'll wonder where I am. Marcus, Volkov says, standing, is currently explaining to me why I shouldn't ruin him for defaulting on a very significant loan. He'll be occupied for a while. My stomach drops. What? Elena will drive you home, unless you'd prefer to wait for Marcus? His expression makes it clear what he thinks of that option. I should wait. I should be a good fiancé and stay until Marcus is ready to leave. No matter how much my ankle hurts or how much I want to get out of this dress and this life and everything that comes with it. But Elena is already holding out her hand, and Adrian Volkov is watching me with those cold blue eyes that somehow make me feel safer than I have in months, and I'm so tired of doing what I should. Thank you, I whisper. I'd like that. Elena's car is a sleek black Mercedes that probably costs more than my parents' house. She drives fast and confident through the Chicago streets while I sit in the passenger seat trying not to cry. Carter's an idiot, she says after a few blocks of silence. Adrian will make sure he doesn't bother you again. It's fine. I wipe at my eyes. I'm used to it. You shouldn't have to be. Elena glances at me. How long have you been engaged to Marcus? 6 months. And how long before that did you know him? 3 weeks. She doesn't say anything, but her hands tighten on the steering wheel. We drive in silence for a while longer, the city lights blurring past my window. I should tell her to take me to Marcus's apartment, but I hear myself giving her my old address instead. The little studio in Logan Square that I kept even after Marcus wanted me to move into his place. Smart, Elena says approvingly. Always good to have a backup plan. Do I have a backup plan? I don't even know anymore. The engagement ring on my finger weighs 1,000 pounds. When we pull up in front of my building, Elena puts the car in park but doesn't unlock the doors. Can I give you some advice? She asks. Please. Marcus Hale is a small, scared man who borrows money he can't repay and treats women like accessories. My brother is going to destroy him financially within a month, maybe 2 if he's feeling generous. She turns to look at me fully. When that happens, you're going to have a choice to make. You can go down with him, or you can save yourself. My throat feels tight. And if I love him? Do you? The question hangs in the air between us. I think about Marcus's tight grip on my wrist, the way he introduces me but never actually talks to me, how he's already started making comments about my weight, my clothes, how I should really think about getting more toned for the wedding photos. No, I whisper. I don't think I ever did. Elena squeezes my hand. Then save yourself, Sophia, before it's too late. Marcus doesn't come home that night. He doesn't come home the next day either. I tell myself I should be worried. A good fiancé would be worried. Instead, I spend Saturday and Sunday in my studio apartment, reading books Marcus always said were too depressing, and eating takeout in my pajamas and not checking my phone even though it buzzes constantly with messages I don't want to read. By Monday morning, I have 17 missed calls from Marcus and 3 from his mother. I delete them all without listening and call in sick to the gallery where I work part-time. My ankle is still swollen, purple and yellow now, and I don't want to answer questions about how it happened. I'm eating cereal in front of the television when someone knocks on my door. My first thought is that it's Marcus, finally tracking me down. My second thought is that I should pretend I'm not home. But the knock comes again, firmer this time, and I find myself padding to the door before I've really decided to answer it. Adrian Volkov stands in my hallway, looking completely out of place in his perfectly tailored suit. He's holding a small pharmacy bag. Miss Warren. He nods politely, like showing up at my apartment is completely normal. May I come in? I should say no. I should slam the door and call Marcus and apologize for disappearing and put all of this behind me. Instead, I step aside and let a mob boss into my living room. He surveys the space with the same assessing gaze he turned on the ballroom, and I'm suddenly, painfully aware of how small it is. One room with a kitchen alcove, a bathroom barely big enough to turn around in, a futon that doubles as my bed. There are paintings stacked against the walls, most of them mine, and books everywhere, covering every available surface. You paint, Volkov observes, when I have time. Which hasn't been often, lately. Marcus thinks it's a waste of time, something I'll give up once we're married, and I'm busy with charity galas and producing the requisite 2 children. Volkov sets the pharmacy bag on my coffee table. For your ankle, ice packs, compression bandage, pain relievers. He glances at me. You should stay off it for a few more days. Thank you. I don't know what else to say. That's very kind. I'm not kind, Miss Warren. He says it like he's correcting a misunderstanding. But I don't like seeing women hurt at events I host. It's bad for business. Right, business. Because that's all this is. A business concern. A problem to be managed. I don't know why that makes my chest ache. Well, thank you anyway, I say. For that and for everything on Friday. You didn't have to help me. Perhaps not. He moves toward the door, and I think he's leaving, but he pauses with his hand on the knob. Miss Warren, can I ask you a question? Sophia. And yes. Why did you say yes when he proposed? The question catches me off guard. I sink down onto my futon, my ankle throbbing. I don't know, I say finally. My parents loved him. He seemed successful, stable. After graduation, everyone was getting engaged or moving away or starting these amazing careers, and I was just drifting. Working part-time at a gallery, painting in my free time, not really going anywhere. And then Marcus showed up at one of my shows, and he was so confident, so sure of everything. He made me feel like maybe I could be sure too, if I just went along with his plans. And now? Now I'm not sure of anything, except that I don't want to marry him. The admission feels enormous in my tiny apartment. Volkov studies me for a long moment. Then don't, he says simply. It's not that easy. His family, my family, the deposits we've already put down. Money can be recovered. Families will adjust. The only thing you can't get back is time, Sophia. He says my name carefully, like he's testing how it feels. Don't waste it on a man who hurts you. Before I can respond, he's gone, the door clicking shut behind him. I sit there on my futon, surrounded by my paintings and my books and the life I've been trying to fit into Marcus's boxes, and something inside me cracks wide open. I'm still sitting there when Marcus finally shows up an hour later, letting himself in with the key I never actually gave him. "Where the hell have you been?" His face is flushed, his tie loose. "I've been calling you all weekend." "I know." "You know? That's all you have to say?" He advances on me, and I instinctively pull back. "I've been dealing with a nightmare, Sophia. Volkov is calling in loans I didn't even know he had ownership of, and you disappear. I twisted my ankle. His sister drove me home." That stops him. "Elena Volkov drove you home?" "Yes." "To here?" He looks around my apartment with distaste, like he's seeing it for the first time. "Jesus Christ, Sophia. I told you to give this place up. What if someone saw you? What if—" He breaks off, running his hands through his hair. "Do you have any idea what kind of position this puts me in?" "No." I stand up, putting weight on my good ankle. "I don't. Why don't you explain it to me?" "Don't be childish. You know what the Volkovs are. You know what Adrian Volkov is capable of. And now his sister knows where you live, and—" He grabs my shoulders, fingers digging in. "Did you tell them anything about me? About my business?" "Let go of me." "Did you?" I said, "Let go." For a second, I think he's going to tighten his grip, but something in my face must convince him, because he releases me and steps back. "I'm sorry," he says, but it sounds automatic. "I'm under a lot of stress right now. The business with Volkov, it's complicated, but we'll figure it out." He reaches for me again, more gently this time. "Come on, baby, let's go back to my place. We'll order dinner, open some wine, forget this whole weekend happened." I look at his hand, extended between us like an olive branch. I look at my apartment, small and cramped, and entirely my own. I look at the engagement ring on my finger, 3 carats of obligation. "No," I say. "What?" "I'm not going back to your place, Marcus. I'm not forgetting this weekend. And I'm not marrying you." I twist the ring off my finger. It catches for a moment, and then it slides free, and I'm pressing it into his palm before I can change my mind. His face goes through several expressions: shock, disbelief, anger, before settling on something calculating. "You can't be serious." "I am." "Because of Friday night? Because Carter got a little handsy?" "Sophia, that's just how things work at these events. You need to develop thicker skin. It's not about Carter. Though it is partly. It's about everything. The way you grip my wrist when you're angry. The comments about my weight. How you make every decision for us without asking what I want. I don't want this life, Marcus. I don't want you." His jaw clenches. "Your parents will get over it. The deposits are just money. You'll regret this." His voice has gone cold now, the charming facade cracking. "You think you can do better than me? You're 24 years old with a useless art degree and a part-time job. I made you relevant, Sophia. Without me, you're nothing." Once, those words would have destroyed me. Even a week ago, I might have believed them. But I think about Adrian Volkov kneeling to check my ankle with gentle hands. Elena Volkov telling me to save myself. The way I felt on Friday night when I stood in that ballroom and said, "No, I'm not cold," and meant it. "Then I'll be nothing," I say. "But at least I'll be nothing on my own terms. Please leave, Marcus." For a moment, I think he might refuse. His hand tightens around the ring, and there's something ugly in his expression that makes me glad I'm standing near the door. "This isn't over," he says finally. "Yes," I tell him. "It is." He leaves without another word, slamming the door hard enough to rattle the paintings on my walls. I wait until I hear his footsteps fade down the hallway, and then I lock the door and slide down to the floor, my back against the wood, and shake. I've just ended my engagement. I've just thrown away 6 months of planning and deposits and my parents' approval and any chance at the stable, respectable life I thought I wanted. I should feel terrified. Instead, I feel free. The next 2 weeks are chaos. My mother calls me 17 times in the first 3 days. I answer on the 18th and listen to her cycle through disappointment, anger, bargaining, and finally, grudging acceptance when I explain that Marcus hurt me and I'm not going back. "Why didn't you tell us?" she asks, and the hurt in her voice nearly breaks me. "Because I didn't want to admit I made a mistake," I say. "Because I thought I could fix it. Because I was scared." She's quiet for a long time. Then, "Are you safe now?" "Yes. Do you need money?" "No, I'm okay." "Then I guess we'll have to trust your judgment," she sighs. "Your father is going to take this harder than me. Give him time. It's not forgiveness, not exactly, but it's a start. The gallery where I work part-time offers me full-time hours and a small raise. It's not much, but it's enough to cover rent and groceries and the art supplies I haven't been able to afford in months. I paint again, for the first time since the engagement, and remember why I wanted to do this in the first place. I don't hear from Marcus again, but I hear about him. Rumors filtering through Chicago's social circles about business deals falling through, investors pulling out, properties being foreclosed. Elena was right. Adrian Volkov is destroying him, methodically and thoroughly, and I don't feel even a little bit guilty. I also don't hear from Adrian Volkov again, though I think about him more than I should. About his cold eyes and gentle hands, the way he said my name, the pharmacy bag he brought to my door. I tell myself it doesn't matter, that he was just doing damage control for an unfortunate incident at his event, that men like Adrian Volkov don't think twice about women like me, but I keep the ice packs he brought just in case. Then, 3 weeks after I give Marcus back his ring, someone breaks into my apartment. I come home from the gallery on a Tuesday evening to find my door cracked open, the lock forced. My heart is hammering as I push it wider, half expecting to find my apartment ransacked. Instead, everything is exactly where I left it. Nothing appears to be missing, but someone has definitely been here. I can feel it in the displaced air, the sense of wrongness that makes my skin crawl. There's an envelope on my coffee table that wasn't there this morning. I should call the police. That's what a sensible person would do. Instead, I lock the door behind me and pick up the envelope with shaking hands. Inside is a single photograph. It's me leaving the gallery yesterday. Someone took this from across the street, zooming in close enough to capture my face clearly. And written across the bottom in black marker, "You made a mistake." Marcus. It has to be Marcus, angry about the broken engagement, about being humiliated, about whatever Adrian Volkov is doing to his business. He's trying to scare me, to make me feel unsafe in my own home. It's working. I'm still standing there, staring at the photograph, when my phone rings. Unknown number. I almost don't answer, but something makes me pick up. "Sophia Warren?" The voice is unfamiliar, male, professional. "Yes?" "This is James, Mr. Volkov's assistant. He'd like to see you tomorrow at 10 a.m., if you're available. I can send a car." My mouth goes dry. Why? He didn't say, just that it's important. A pause. "Are you available, Miss Warren?" I look at the photograph on my coffee table, at my forced lock, at my tiny apartment that suddenly doesn't feel safe anymore. "Yes," I hear myself say. "I'm available." The car that picks me up the next morning is the same Mercedes Elena drove, but she's not behind the wheel. Instead, it's a driver who nods politely and doesn't speak as he navigates through downtown Chicago to a skyscraper I've passed 100 times but never entered. Volkov's office is on the 45th floor, all glass and steel and views that stretch to the lake. His assistant, James, impeccably dressed and efficient, shows me through a reception area where 2 other assistants are fielding phone calls in rapid-fire Russian. "Mr. Volkov is finishing a call," James says, gesturing to a leather chair. "Please, make yourself comfortable." "Can I get you anything? Coffee? Water?" "Water would be great." He disappears, returning seconds later with sparkling water in a crystal glass. I'm halfway through it when the door to the inner office opens and Adrian Volkov emerges. He's in shirt sleeves today, no jacket, and his dark hair is slightly disheveled, like he's been running his hands through it. He looks tired, I realize, and somehow more human than he did at the gala. "Sophia," he nods to James. Hold my calls. Then, to me, please, come in. His office is enormous, dominated by a massive desk and floor-to-ceiling windows that make me feel like I'm floating above the city. There are paintings on the walls, real ones, not prints, and I recognize a Kandinsky that makes my art history degree sit up and pay attention. That's real, I blurt out. A ghost of a smile touches his mouth. It is. You have a good eye. I have an expensive education. I set down my water glass carefully. Why did you want to see me, Mr. Volkov? Adrian, and I wanted to see you because Marcus Hale broke into your apartment yesterday. The floor seems to tilt. How did you... I have someone watching your building. He says it calmly, like it's the most normal thing in the world. After what happened at the gala, I thought it wise. They reported the break-in immediately. You've been having me watched? I should be angry. I should be outraged. Instead, I just feel confused. Why? Adrian leans against his desk, arms crossed. Because I don't trust Marcus Hale. Because you were engaged to him, which means he considers you his property, and men like that don't let go easily. And because... He pauses. Because when I asked Elena about you, she said you were smart and kind and deserved better. I decided she was right. My throat feels tight. So you've been protecting me. Observing you. There's a difference. His eyes meet mine. But yes, I've made sure you're safe. Which brings me to why you're here. He moves around the desk and pulls out a folder, sliding it across to me. Inside are photographs, more of them, dozens, all of me, leaving my apartment. Walking to the gallery, getting coffee. The most recent one is from yesterday afternoon. Marcus has had you under surveillance for at least 2 weeks, Adrian says quietly. My people caught his people watching you. They're not being subtle about it. He wants you to know you're being followed. My hands are shaking. What does he want? To scare you, to control you, maybe to hurt you. Adrian's voice is flat, emotionless, but his eyes are burning. I've dealt with men like Marcus Hale for a long time, Sophia. They're predictable. Right now he's losing everything. Money, status, reputation. He blames you for breaking the engagement, and he blames me for destroying his business. Eventually he's going to snap. So what do? You let me protect you. The words hang in the air between us. I should laugh. I should tell him I can take care of myself. But I'm looking at dozens of photographs of myself, taken without my knowledge, and I can feel the walls closing in. How? I whisper. Adrian straightens, his expression careful. There's a property I own in River North. Penthouse apartment, secure building, 24-hour security. You'd have your own space, complete privacy. I'd cover the rent until this situation is resolved. And in exchange? His eyebrows rise slightly. In exchange for nothing, Sophia. This isn't a transaction. Everything's a transaction with men like you. Then let's say you'd be doing me a favor. He moves closer, and I have to tilt my head back to meet his eyes. I don't like unfinished business, and Marcus Hale has become very much my business. Having you somewhere safe means I can focus on dealing with him without worrying about collateral damage. Collateral damage, I repeat. Is that what I am? No, his voice softens. You're a woman who deserves to feel safe in her own home. Right now, you don't. I can fix that. I want to refuse. I want to tell him I'll figure it out myself, that I don't need a mob boss playing knight in shining armor, that accepting his help means owing him something I might not want to pay. But I'm so tired. Tired of being scared, of looking over my shoulder, of sleeping with a chair under my doorknob because my lock is broken. And maybe Elena was right. Maybe the smart thing is to let Adrian Volkov help me, at least until Marcus gives up or gets bored or... What are you going to do to him? I ask. To Marcus? Adrian's expression goes cold. Nothing he doesn't deserve. It's not really an answer, but I don't press. I'm not sure I want to know. Okay, I say finally. Okay, I'll move to your building, temporarily. Good, he pulls out his phone, typing rapidly. James will take you to see the apartment this afternoon. If you like it, you can move in today. I'll have movers handle everything. I don't have much. Then it won't take long. He looks up from his phone, and for just a second his expression softens. You're doing the right thing, Sophia. I hope so. The apartment is beautiful. Not just nice, beautiful. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the Chicago River, hardwood floors, a kitchen with appliances I'm almost afraid to touch. There's a king bed in the bedroom and a clawfoot tub in the bathroom, and enough closet space for 10 times the wardrobe I actually own. This is too much, I tell James, who's been giving me the tour. Mr. Volkov was very specific about your comfort, James says diplomatically. The building has excellent security, as you can see. Key card access for the elevator, cameras in all common areas, security desk in the lobby staffed around the clock. It's a fortress. It's safe. He hands me a key card and a slip of paper with a number. That's the private line to Mr. Volkov's office. If you need anything at all, call immediately. I take the paper, wondering when my life became something that requires a direct line to a crime lord. By evening, my entire life has been packed up and moved to the penthouse. It takes less than 3 hours, which is depressing when I think about it. Everything I own fits into a dozen boxes and some garment bags, leaving the new apartment looking barely occupied. I'm unpacking books when Elena shows up, carrying 2 bottles of wine and a bag of Thai food. Congratulations on your new place, she says, breezing past me into the kitchen. Adrian said you could probably use some company. He said that? Well, no, he said, make sure she's settled. But I'm choosing to interpret that as keep her company and make sure she eats. She starts pulling takeout containers from the bag. Pad Thai, spring rolls, and curry. I didn't know what you liked, so I got everything. Despite everything, I smile. Thank you. We eat at the kitchen island, because there's no dining table yet, and Elena tells me about her day, which apparently involved a very tense meeting with a construction union and a city councilman who kept trying to look down her shirt. I had to threaten to have Adrian pay him a visit, she says cheerfully, straightened right up after that. Does that happen a lot? People being afraid of your brother? Constantly. It's exhausting. She takes a sip of wine, but also useful when dealing with idiots. Is he really as dangerous as everyone says? Elena considers the question carefully. Adrian is complicated. He does what needs to be done to protect our family and our business. Sometimes that means being ruthless. But he's not cruel, Sophia. He doesn't hurt people for fun. Everything he does for a reason. Even helping me? Especially helping you. She leans forward. Can I tell you something? Adrian doesn't do this. He doesn't get personally involved in other people's problems. He has people for that. But you're different somehow. My heart does something complicated in my chest. I don't know why I would be. Maybe you don't, but he does. Elena smiles. Anyway, I should go. Early meeting tomorrow. She gathers up the empty containers and wine bottles. Call me if you need anything, okay? And not just for emergencies. If you're bored or lonely, or just want to watch bad TV and drink wine. I will. Thank you, Elena, for everything. After she leaves, I finish unpacking and take a long bath in that ridiculous tub and try not to think about Adrian Volkov, or why he's decided I'm worth protecting, or what it means that I'm living in his building, surrounded by his security, essentially under his control. I should hate this. I should be fighting for my independence, proving I can handle this myself. Instead, I fall asleep in the biggest, most comfortable bed I've ever owned, and for the first time in weeks, I don't dream about Marcus at all. The next morning, I'm finishing my coffee when the front desk calls up. Miss Warren, there's a delivery for you. I'm not expecting anything. It's from Mr. Volkov's office. Of course it is. 10 minutes later, I'm staring at a massive bouquet of white peonies, my favorite, though I have no idea how he'd know that, and a note in heavy black ink. For your new beginning, A. I'm still holding the card when my phone rings. Adrian's private number. Did the flowers arrive? His voice is brisk, businesslike. Yes, they're beautiful, but you didn't have to. I wanted to. A pause. I also wanted to let you know that Marcus made contact with you last night. My stomach drops. What? No, I was here all through your email. He sent you several messages from a new account. My IT people flagged them before they reached your inbox. What did they say? Nothing you need to read. His voice hardens, but it confirms what I suspected. He's not giving up, which means we need to be proactive. Proactive how? Come to my office this afternoon, 3 o'clock. We'll discuss it then. He hangs up before I can ask questions, leaving me alone with my coffee and my peonies, and a growing sense that my life is spiraling into something I can't control. At 3 o'clock, I'm back in Adrian's office, this time wearing jeans and a sweater because I'm determined not to let him intimidate me with his expensive suits and his fortress office. He's on the phone when I arrive, speaking rapid Russian to someone who's clearly getting bad news. He gestures for me to sit, wrapping up the call with a few curt sentences. Sorry, he says, switching to English. Crisis in St. Petersburg. Nothing that concerns you. Everything about you concerns me now. I don't mean to sound bitter, but it comes out that way. I'm living in your building, under your protection, apparently reading emails that you've pre-screened. For your safety. For my safety, you're controlling my life. Adrian sets down his phone carefully. Is that what you think I'm doing? Isn't it? He's quiet for a moment, studying me with those ice blue eyes. Then he stands and walks to the windows, hands in his pockets. When I was 16, he says quietly, my father was killed by a business rival. Shot outside our home while I watched from the window. My mother died 6 months later, officially from a stroke, but really from grief. I inherited everything. The business, the properties, the obligations, the enemies. I was responsible for Elena, who was 12 and terrified. I had to become someone who could protect her, who could handle that world. So I learned to control everything I could, because the alternative was chaos. He turns to face me. I'm not trying to control your life, Sophia. I'm trying to keep you safe. There's a difference. Is there? My voice is softer now, because from where I'm sitting, it feels like I've gone from one controlling man to another. Pain flashes across his face, quickly hidden. If that's how you feel, you're free to leave. I'll maintain security on your old apartment, make sure Marcus keeps his distance, but you don't have to stay here. You never had to. But you think I should. I think you're safer here. I think Marcus Hale is dangerous and getting more desperate. And I think... He trails off, then starts again. I think you deserve to live without fear. If I can give you that, even temporarily, then I'm going to try. There's something raw in his voice, something that makes me believe him. I stand up and move to the windows, standing beside him. What did the emails say? I ask. The ones from Marcus. Do you really want to know? Yes. Adrian pulls out his phone, opening an app and handing it to me. The emails are there, each one worse than the last. Marcus ranting about betrayal, about how I belong to him, about how I'll regret leaving, about what he's going to do when he finds me alone. The last one just says, soon. I hand the phone back, my hands shaking. He's going to come for me. Yes. Adrian's voice is gentle. But he won't find you, and when he makes his move, I'll be ready. What are you going to do? Whatever's necessary. He looks at me. Does that scare you? It should. A month ago, it would have terrified me. But now, looking at Adrian Volkov in his office high above Chicago, I realize that I'm not scared of him. I'm scared of Marcus, of being hurt again, of going back to that life of expensive lies and careful bruises. No, I say. It doesn't scare me. Something shifts in his expression. Good. We stand there in silence, watching the city below. Then Adrian speaks again, so quietly I almost miss it. You asked Elena why I'm helping you. She said I was different. You are. He turns to face me fully. When I saw Marcus gripping your wrist at that gala, I saw someone trapped. Someone brave enough to tremble but not to run. And when you stood up to Carter, when you returned Marcus's ring, when you agreed to let me help despite not trusting me, every time you were brave. I don't meet a lot of brave people, Sophia. So yes, you're different. My heart is hammering. Adrian! I should let you go, he says quickly. You probably have somewhere to be. I don't. I have nowhere to be and no one waiting for me, but I nod anyway, because the air in this office has suddenly become too thick to breathe, and I need space to think. Call me if you need anything, he says as I reach the door. I look back at him, silhouetted against the windows, and wonder when I started thinking of him as more than just protection. When his cold eyes started seeming warm. When the Wolf of Chicago became someone I wanted to trust. I will, I promise, and leave before I can say something stupid. The next week passes in strange, quiet peace. I work at the gallery, come home to my borrowed apartment, paint in the evenings. Elena stops by twice more with takeout and wine. James checks in daily to make sure I have everything I need. Adrian doesn't call. I tell myself I'm relieved, that I need this distance, this space to figure out my life without another man, even a well-meaning one, directing my choices. I tell myself I don't miss the way he said my name, or the intensity of his attention, or the strange safety I felt in his presence. I tell myself a lot of things that aren't quite true. Then, on Friday night, everything changes. I'm working late at the gallery, cataloging new acquisitions in the back room, when I hear the front door chime. We're technically closed, but sometimes collectors come by after hours with appointments. Just a minute, I call, setting down my clipboard, but when I walk into the main gallery, it's not a collector. Marcus stands by the front door, and he looks terrible. Unshaven, clothes wrinkled, eyes wild. Hello, Sophia. My blood turns to ice. How did you find me? Followed you from your new place this morning. He smiles, but it's all wrong, twisted. Nice apartment. Volkov's building, isn't it? Is that where you've been? Letting him take care of you? I back toward the office, toward the phone. Marcus, you need to leave. I need to leave? He laughs, high and sharp. You disappear for a month, you break our engagement, you let that Russian mobster destroy everything I've built, and I need to leave? I didn't let him do anything. Your business problems aren't my fault. Everything is your fault. He's moving closer now, and there's something in his hand, something small and dark that makes my heart stop. A gun. Marcus, I whisper. Please. Please? You're saying please now? He's close enough that I can smell the whiskey on him, see the broken blood vessels in his eyes. You didn't say please when you humiliated me, when you made me look weak in front of my associates, when you ran straight to Volkov like the little whore you... Don't call me that. The words are out before I can stop them, and Marcus's face contorts with rage. I'll call you whatever I want. You're mine, Sophia. You've always been mine, and you're going to remember that. He raises the gun, pointing it at my chest, and I know with absolute clarity that he's going to shoot me. This is how it ends. Not in some dramatic confrontation, but in a gallery after hours, killed by a man I once thought I loved. Then the front door crashes open. Everything happens very fast. Adrian Volkov is there, and so are two other men in dark suits, and Marcus is turning the gun away from me, toward Adrian. And I'm screaming, "No!" Adrian moves like water, fast and fluid. He catches Marcus's wrist, twisting until the gun falls. Marcus tries to fight, but Adrian is stronger, faster, better trained. Within seconds, Marcus is on the ground, Adrian's knee in his back, one of the suited men securing his hands. Are you hurt? Adrian's eyes find mine, and they're blazing. I shake my head, unable to speak. Get her out of here, Adrian tells the second man. Take her home. Stay with her. No, I find my voice. I want to stay. Sophia, I want to stay with you. Our eyes lock across the gallery, and something passes between us. Understanding, trust, something more that I'm not ready to name. Fine, Adrian says quietly, but stand back. He hauls Marcus to his feet, and the man I was going to marry looks small and pathetic now. All his bluster gone. There's blood running from his nose where he hit the floor, and his eyes are darting around like a trapped animal's. You can't do this, Marcus babbles. I have rights. I'll call the police. You pulled a gun on an unarmed woman, Adrian says coldly. Whatever rights you had, you just forfeited. But don't worry, I'm not going to kill you, Marcus. That would be too merciful. Then what? I'm going to make sure everyone knows what you did. Every business associate, every social connection, every person in Chicago who ever respected you. By tomorrow morning, you'll be finished. Not just financially, socially, professionally, completely. You'll be lucky if you can get a job parking cars. Marcus's face crumples. Please, I'll do anything. I'll disappear. I'll never contact her again. Just don't. You should have thought of that before you threatened her life. Adrian nods to his men. Take him. Make sure the police get his gun and a full statement about what happened here tonight. And make sure they understand that I have video footage of everything. They drag Marcus out, still pleading, still crying. The gallery falls quiet. I'm shaking so hard my teeth chatter. Adrian crosses to me in 2 strides, and then his arms are around me, and I'm collapsing against his chest, finally letting myself break. You're safe, he murmurs into my hair. He can't hurt you now. I've got you. I don't know how long we stand there. Long enough for my tears to stop, for my breathing to steady, for the world to slowly come back into focus. When I finally pull back, Adrian's shirt is wet from my tears. I'm sorry, I whisper. Don't be. His hands frame my face, thumbs brushing away the remaining tears. Don't ever be sorry for being afraid. You were so brave, Sophia. So incredibly brave. I didn't feel brave. Bravery isn't about not feeling afraid. It's about facing fear anyway. His eyes search mine. Are you okay? Really? I don't know. I laugh weakly. Ask me tomorrow. Tomorrow, then. He doesn't let go of me. Come on, let's get you home. Home. It's strange how quickly the penthouse has become that. Not just a place to sleep, but a home. Adrian insists on coming up with me, checking every room even though his men have already swept it twice. He makes me tea I don't drink and sits with me on the couch while I stare at nothing and try to process what just happened. He could have killed me, I say finally. But he didn't. Because you came. I look at him. How did you know? I've had people watching the gallery since you started working there. When Marcus showed up, they called immediately. His jaw tightens. I should have been faster. You saved my life. I almost didn't. The rawness in his voice catches me off guard. I reach for his hand, lacing our fingers together. But you did. Adrian, you saved me. He looks down at our joined hands, and when he speaks, his voice is rough. When I saw him pointing that gun at you, He breaks off, shaking his head. I've seen a lot of violence in my life, Sophia. I've become numb to it. But seeing you in danger, knowing I might lose you before I even really had you. Had me? My heart is pounding. Adrian turns to face me fully, still holding my hand. I know this isn't the right time. I know you've just been through something traumatic, and I should give you space to process. But I can't keep pretending I'm just protecting you, because it's the right thing to do. Then why are you protecting me? Because from the moment I saw you at that gala, trembling but defiant, I couldn't look away. Because every time I see you, you surprise me. Your strength, your kindness, your ability to choose yourself even when it's hard. Because somewhere in the past month, keeping you safe stopped being an obligation and became the most important thing in my life. My breath catches. Adrian! I'm not asking you for anything, he says quickly. You don't owe me. You've just ended one relationship, and the last thing you need is another man making demands. But I need you to know that he gestures between us. This isn't just about protection anymore. Not for me. I should be scared. I should tell him it's too soon, that I need time, that I can't jump from one relationship into another. But I'm looking at Adrian Volkov, the Wolf of Chicago, looking vulnerable for maybe the first time in his life, and I realize something crucial. I trust him. Not despite who he is, but because of it. Because he's been nothing but honest with me from the start. Because he's given me choices when he could have made demands. Because when Marcus pointed a gun at me, Adrian didn't hesitate to put himself between us. It's not just protection for me either, I whisper. His eyes search mine. What is it then? I don't know yet. But I want to find out. The smile that crosses his face is like sunrise. Slow, warm, transforming. He lifts my hand to his lips, pressing a kiss to my knuckles that sends electricity racing through me. Then we'll figure it out together, he says. No pressure, no rush, just us. Us, I repeat, and the word feels full of possibility. Adrian stays with me that night, though nothing happens beyond sitting together on the couch, his arm around my shoulders while I finally process everything. He tells me stories about Elena as a child, about learning to run his father's empire at 16, about the weight of responsibility and the cost of power. I tell him about my dreams of being an artist, about feeling lost after college, about choosing Marcus because I didn't know how to choose myself. Somewhere around midnight, I fall asleep against his shoulder. When I wake up, there's a blanket over me and Adrian is gone. But there's a note on the coffee table. Sleep as long as you need. I'll be at the office all day, but call if you need anything. You're safe now. A. I hold the note to my chest and let myself cry again, not from fear this time, but from relief. The next few weeks pass in a blur of police statements and lawyers, and Marcus's very public downfall. The video footage from the gallery makes the news, and suddenly everyone knows what he tried to do. His remaining business partners drop him. His mother releases a statement condemning his actions. He's charged with aggravated assault, illegal possession of a firearm, and attempted murder. Through it all, Adrian is there, not hovering, not controlling, just present. He sends flowers on days when the lawyers are particularly brutal. He shows up at the police station with coffee when I have to give another statement. He takes me to dinner at quiet restaurants where no one stares, and we talk about everything except Marcus. Elena becomes a real friend, dragging me to yoga classes and museum openings, and once, memorably, to a very illegal poker game in someone's penthouse, where I win $300, and Adrian looks at me with something that might be pride. The gallery gives me a raise and more responsibility. I start painting again in earnest, finishing a series I started months ago about transformation. Butterflies emerging from cocoons, phoenixes rising from ashes, women stepping out of shadows into light. And slowly, carefully, Adrian and I build something that isn't just protection or gratitude or trauma bonding. We build trust, friendship, something that starts to feel like love. He doesn't push. He never pushes. But he's always there when I reach for him, steady and solid and safe in a way I've never experienced before. He holds my hand during movie nights. He kisses my forehead when he says goodnight. He looks at me like I'm something precious, something worth protecting, not because I'm fragile, but because I'm valuable. 2 months after the gallery incident, the restraining order against Marcus becomes permanent. He's sentenced to 5 years in prison. I should feel vindicated, or satisfied, or something. Instead, I just feel free. It's over, I tell Adrian that night, sitting on his office couch while he finishes work. Really over. He sets down his pen and comes to sit beside me. How do you feel? Lighter. I lean into him, like I can finally start moving forward instead of just surviving. Good. He's quiet for a moment. What do you want, Sophia? For your future? I think about it. I want to paint. Really paint, not just in my spare time. I want to have a show, maybe. I want to build something that's entirely mine. I pause. And I want you. His arm tightens around me. You have me. Do I? I pull back to look at him. Because I've been waiting for you to... I don't know. Make a move. Ask me out properly. Something. You said you needed time. I did. But Adrian, it's been 2 months. At some point, time stops being healing and starts being hesitation. He laughs, and it's the most relaxed sound I've ever heard from him. You're right. I've been hesitating because I didn't want to push, but I think I've been using that as an excuse because I'm terrified. Of what? Of this. of you, of how much I care about you. His hand comes up to cup my face. I've spent my entire adult life being in control. But with you, Sophia, I'm not in control at all. You've completely undone me. Good, I whisper, because you've undone me too. When he kisses me finally, it's everything I didn't know I needed. Gentle but intense, asking permission even as he takes it, making me feel cherished and desired and wholly, completely seen. We break apart eventually, both breathing hard, and Adrian rests his forehead against mine. I should do this properly, he says. Take you to dinner, ask you officially. Yes, I interrupt. I haven't asked yet. Yes, anyway. He laughs again, and I realize I want to spend the rest of my life making this serious, dangerous man laugh. Sophia Warren, will you? Yes. Let me take you to dinner tomorrow night? Oh, I grin. Also yes. The dinner is perfect. A small Italian restaurant that Adrian apparently owns, where they close the whole place just for us and serve the most incredible food I've ever tasted. We talk for hours about everything and nothing. He tells me about his plans to expand the legitimate side of his business, to slowly transition away from the darker operations. I tell him about my dream of opening my own gallery someday. I'll help, he offers, with funding, space, whatever you need. No. I say it gently. Thank you, but no. If I do this, I need to do it myself. Not because I don't trust you, but because I need to know I can. He looks at me with so much respect, it makes my chest ache. I understand, but the offer stands whenever you're ready. No strings. No strings, I agree, and kiss him across the table, tasting wine and promise. 3 months later, I move my things from the penthouse to Adrian's actual apartment, a massive space in the same building, higher up with even better views. We don't talk about it being permanent, but we both know it is. 6 months after that, Elena throws me a birthday party that turns into an impromptu engagement announcement when Adrian gets down on one knee in front of everyone and produces a ring that's nothing like the ostentatious diamond Marcus gave me. This one is a simple sapphire, my birthstone, set in vintage gold. Marry me, he says, not asks. Be my partner in all things. Let me love you the way you deserve. I'm crying and laughing and saying yes before he even finishes, and when he slides the ring onto my finger, it feels like coming home. The wedding is small, just Elena and a few close friends and my parents, who've slowly come to accept that maybe I know what I'm doing after all. My mother cries through the entire ceremony. My father shakes Adrian's hand and says, "You're a good man," which is probably the closest he'll ever get to approval. We get married at sunset in a private garden, and when Adrian lifts my veil and looks at me with those ice blue eyes that aren't cold anymore, haven't been cold in a long time, I know with absolute certainty that I made the right choice. I love you, he says, quiet enough that only I can hear. I love you too, I whisper back. My wolf. He laughs and kisses me, and someone in the crowd whistles, and Elena threatens to kill whoever's phone I hear chiming with photo notifications. It's perfect. It's everything I never knew I wanted. Later, at the reception, Adrian pulls me aside during the dancing, leading me to a quiet corner of the venue. I have something for you, he says, producing an envelope. Inside is a lease agreement for a gallery space in a trendy neighborhood, already signed and paid for. Adrian, before you protest, he says quickly, it's not a gift. It's an investment. You'll pay me back from your profits. But I wanted you to have options, Sophia. To not have to wait or worry or compromise your vision because of money. I look at the papers, then at my husband, and feel something crack open in my chest, not breaking, but blooming. Thank you, I whisper, for believing in me. Always, he promises, and means it. 1 year later, my gallery opens to rave reviews. The show is my transformation series, and it sells out the first night. I stand there in my own space, surrounded by my art and my husband and the life I've built from the ashes of who I used to be, and I'm so happy I could burst. Who would have thought, Elena says, appearing at my elbow with champagne, that the scared girl from the gala would end up here? I did, Adrian says, joining us. His arm slides around my waist, pulling me close. I always knew she was extraordinary. I lean into him, into this life, into the future we're building together. You know what the best part is? I ask. What? They both say. I saved myself, I tell them. Everything that came after, Adrian, the gallery, all of it, that was just me finally seeing what I was capable of. Adrian kisses my temple. That's my girl. And standing there in my gallery, surrounded by art and love and possibility, I finally understand what Elena meant that first night when she told me to save myself. Because I did. And in doing so, I found everything I'd been missing, everything I deserved.